Listen to what this real estate mogul has to say about the difference between investing in rich kids versus poor kids. You won't believe what she said.
I don't invest in rich kids. Rich kids come in with a couple of disadvantages, I feel. They've had the right jobs because they had the right contacts. So they had the right apprenticeships in right companies in their summer months when they're teenagers. You know, they get the right introductions, okay? Poor kids are usually waiting tables and scrapping, dealing with customers, spilling coffee, and getting shouted at. Rich kids, when starting businesses on Shark Tank, the ones I see on Shark Tank typically have gone to the finest schools. And what comes with going to the finest schools, especially business schools, what comes is a certain attitude that they know it. It's a dangerous attribute to have in anything when you're starting out in anything. But what they do know is they know all about business as an observer, but they don't know business as a player. Whereas poor kids tend to have had hardship. They've had to be a player earlier. They've had to contribute to the family. They've seen their parents struggle. They know the power of a buck. They've never gone on a fancy vacation, so they aspire to the vacation. I'm giving you all kinds of shit, right? Okay. But I do believe in it. And then the last is an injured poor kid is, for me, a guarantee that I'm going to make money if he's got the ego to prove somebody else wrong.
Now, if you haven't seen Shark Tank, then you probably don't know who Barbara Corcoran is. She's a big-time investor on the hit show ABC Shark Tank with Mark Cuban, Damon John, Kevin O'Leary, and Robert Herjavec. Now, I grew up watching the show. Great show. So many lessons you can learn about business, entrepreneurship, and investing. So if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Now, Barbara spoke on the difference between rich kids and poor kids. And just a side note about Barbara, she's one of the most intelligent sharks on the show. She has a great instinct and she loves the underdog. So I can see why she said what she said. And honestly, one of my favorite sharks. She is an absolute gem and a powerhouse when it comes to real estate in New York. That's where she built her business. Anyways, so she said that rich kids have a disadvantage when it comes to being investment worthy because they went to all the right schools, they got all the right jobs growing up. They don't really have that sense of struggle and resilience and grit. And they have an aura about them of, you know, they have this know-it-all aura, this wise-ass, arrogant attitude. And that's dangerous when it comes to business, thinking you know it all. And versus poor kids that have had to work 2-3 jobs, support their family. They've had to struggle and get yelled at, and they have this bone of resilience in their body that rich kids don't. And so they're more investment worthy because they know what it's like to struggle. They know what it's like most likely to run a business or be part of a small business. And they're not standing and they're not sitting at an observer table, but rather they are the players. And what do you think? I'd love to get your thoughts. Do you think she's right? Do you think she's wrong? Comment your thoughts down below.